Pardon? I think it is. Can't never
Kenny, will you
get
do
high
prayer?
enough.
Prayer. No, you are. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Morgan County Board of Commissioners meeting for November 6th. If you'll please stand. Mr. Commissioner Adams will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Hale will follow in prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please. Oh, most gracious Heavenly Father, we just want to give you all the praise, honor, and glory that you deserve, Lord. We thank you for being able to just wake up this morning, Lord. We thank you for that mercy, for that love, for that patience, Lord, because we know it was so hard under the law, and we can't thank you enough for sending your son Jesus to pay that terrible price for all of our sins, Lord. We just ask that you continue to use us for vessels and let other people see you through us, Lord. We just ask it in your precious Son's name, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
First on the agenda is approving the October 16th minutes.
I move to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have claims totaling $5,465,203.91. There's no holds. That's what I was told? No holds? No holds. Look for a motion to approve the claims.
I didn't even get a copy of my claims in the pack.
Any questions?
No, I just love to see them before, but that's all right.
Nothing stood out. Look for a motion.
I'll move that we approve the claims totaling $5,465,203.91.
We have a motion on the floor. May I please have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion, the claims are approved. Next, we have the opening bids of paving. Aye. I think we need to redo this. Is there another way to do this?
Morning, Commissioners. This is the bid opening for the fall 2023, spring 2024 roadway resurfacing projects. We've received 6 bidders. I'll open them now.
Does he open them or does Linda? I always like when Linda has to do something.
Would you like to read them?
I don't know, I told him I did them when we didn't have an engineer, but I knew Tony.
Go ahead.
Did them
Go
in the
ahead.
past, so I don't know.
The first bid is from Milestone Contractors in the amount of $349,158. The second bid is from Baumgartner Asphalt Services. The bid is in the amount for $397,000. The third bid is from Howard Companies in the amount of $342,665.20. The fourth bid is from Midwest Paving in the amount of $376,909.08. The fifth bid is from Wallace Construction in the amount of $431,696.31. The sixth and final bid is from E&B Paving in the amount of $377,700 even. At this time, we'll review all the bids, and then we will let the commissioners know who the lowest responsive bidder is. Thank you.
Real quick, how long you been on the job with the county? Because we got a big audience and a lot of people don't know who the engineer is.
Yeah, so-
Introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Justin Schneck. I'm the new county engineer. I joined in on it was August 28th, so I'm a little over 2 months now, so on the job. So loving every bit of it, so can't
And
wait
this
to
is
do
the
some
first
more.
time he's done bids, and it's always exciting to have a really smart kid come back. He's from here to work for your county, and he's even got enough common sense to bring a envelope opener. First one to do that. I'm very impressed. In my 25 years of doing that, you're the first one to be smart enough to bring an opener. So get back with us once you've reviewed all the specs, and we'll give you a vote.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
I may have to send a shout out to Linda for the opener. She got my back on that one. So.
Thanks,
Teamwork,
Justin.
teamwork. Next up, petition to vacate easement. I believe Mr. Coffey will be representing.
Morning.
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 You recall I was here a month ago. We introduced for the first reading of a ordinance to vacate certain easements within the R.R. Kenton subdivision and the Patton Park subdivision here in Morgan County, both in Jefferson Township. At that time, I had missed a adjoining landowner that we needed to serve notice on. That's now been done. That was the Uri Carroll, Myrtle Carroll Joint Trust. And so they've been served. I actually talked to Mrs. Carroll. She didn't have any concerns about this. And so I'm here today to ask for your consideration and approval of the ordinance that would vacate these certain easements. As you recall, these were easements that in the original plats were outlined, however, were never constructed. Most of them are contained in ravines, so there's no way you could viably build a roadway. And we're asking that the various easements be vacated and half the easements go to the property owners on each side of the particular easements. I represent, as you've set forth in the ordinance, James E. Tout, Tammy Tout, and Lisa Chase. Those particular individuals own several lots in Section E of R.R. Kenton subdivision. And then obviously Jeffrey Richards, Cynthia Richards, James McLean Jr., Lori McLean, Clayton McLean, Shirley Allure, Scott Cook, and Patton Park, Inc. So pretty much everybody that's involved in receiving ownership of these easements, if you vacate it, I am representing today. The only other adjoining landowner, Mrs. Carroll, through her trust, was the one I had to notify. So with that, I entertain any questions you may have.
I'm going to use your legal expertise, which I am lacking, but do we need to go into a public hearing for this particular?
We actually, it was actually introduced last meeting, which would have been your public hearing. I don't think you actually recessed for a public hearing, but that would suffice to say that you had your public hearing. We have it again here today. If you wanted to see if anyone's in the audience that has anything to say about it, you certainly would be in your rights to do
Okay.
that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Coffey?
No.
Any questions or comments from the audience? Any concerns from the audience? For a motion to vote on the petition to vacate easements?
I'll move that we proceed to approve the petition to vacate the easements within that subdivision. And I had a little extra spare time. I read some of that. You've been busy. A lot of stuff.
We have a motion on the floor. A second? I'll second. Is there any concerns from any of the board members? I know you well enough that.
There is some corrections that was caught by the auditor's office, and I don't know if you've had a chance to even look at them, Dale, but let you look at them real fast. If you just, first 2 pages, sir. They're minimal, but probably ought to be addressed, I would think. but-
I have no problem with making these corrections. It's basically just adding the et al. That's on the current deeds. So I've got no problem with doing that. If you'd like for me to make these changes and then present the ordinance for your signature, just ask
I'll
maybe
pass,
with.
you've been here 3 or 4 times.
Pass it
I'm
with-
willing to pass it
with the
with the
corrections.
understanding
Okay.
that you'll make
Yep.
the, it's name changes, right? Like
Yeah,
the spellings?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I'm concerned about.
okay,
Thank you, Dale,
thank you.
Will you amend your motion to adopt
with corrections.
with the corrections?
With corrections, I so move.
Okay. And I'll second again. No further discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. Coffey.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll
Dale.
make a copy of
Appreciate
this
it.
and then give us back to Deb.
You're good. Yeah. Thank you.
Grant application, juvenile corrections, community corrections.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Miranda Bokamp, the Assistant Chief Probation Officer. It occurred to me that I've done this a lot of times and I've never said my name. So Court Services is requesting to apply for the Juvenile Community Corrections Grant from the Indiana Department of Corrections. The amount is not to exceed $160,000. This is a state fiscal year grant, so it would be, the funding would be available July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. We use this to fund juvenile officers' salary and fringe and some other miscellaneous items for the office. We've been applying for and receiving this funding since approximately 1989, and this is not a matching grant. So we would request permission to submit that application.
Any questions? Look for a motion.
Kenny Hill makes motion, we approve the fiscal year 2024/2025 juvenile community corrections grant in the amount not to exceed $160,000.
Have a motion on the floor
I'll second.
and a second. Any questions? Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Memorandum of Understanding, Health Department.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Dyer, Public Health Nurse, Warren County Health Department. And this is a MOU for expanded services with adult and child through Monroe Gregg school districts for therapy services. And it's using our school liaison grant money.
Any questions?
Minor question. I see this is with Monroe Gregg, and I think we approved one not too long ago for Washington Township, or Martinsville, school corporation, not Washington Township. I'm getting fire departments and schools mixed up. And are we covering all the schools in the county now?
Yeah, Eminence uses Centerstone, so
Okay.
this is just a growing expenditure of adult and child where they are in the school districts.
Okay.
So Eminence knows that we have this funding. We help them in other ways as well. We're not allowed to really approach them for mental health needs. It just kind of has to be brought up in a needs assessment that we do with the schools. And with adult and child in the schools currently, they go to the board or whatever administrators that they talk to see if they want these additional services. They okay it, and then work with us to expand those services.
What do they do with the Christian schools?
They're not in the Christian schools.
They don't participate in this?
They participate with our funding, just different ways. They get emergency medications that we supply, hygiene products that we supply, stop the bleed kits. We connect them with other services so like Mooresville schools, or the Mooresville Christian Academy has a nurse there that's interested in mental health classes to better understand and help her students, but they haven't reached out and said they want mental health services provided. But we would totally help them with that if they did.
Any other questions? Look for a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve the MOU agreement between Morgan County Health Department, Adult Child Health for behavioral health programming and group support with Monroe Gregg School District.
Have a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just did a couple grants. Just FYI, I don't know if you guys got to see this, a few meetings ago, I requested some information on what we do to go out and get grants each and every year to keep taxes as low as we can, and we get roughly $1,403,678 last year was budgeted out of grants, so that's pretty good. Next up is the lease termination agreement with CenterPoint, and I have reviewed this, and I still have some questions that need some legal rendering, and I have not gotten those. I'm not comfortable
I move to table.
Second.
where I was going with it. Thank you, you read my mind. Until I get those answers, I wasn't gonna vote on it. We have a motion to table and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Tabled.
I had some of those same questions, but I wanted to see Jim. We'll see what's going on.
Resolution approving the reserve policy and debt policy. Mr. Messmer.
Good morning, gentlemen. So this resolution will also go before the council at their Wednesday meeting. This is something that both boards have asked through our budgeting process, that we would work to get an actual policy in place on how we want our debt framework to look like, how we want our liquidity framework, and our reserve policy framework. And so this is the culmination of that. We've been working with Baker Tilly to put these frameworks in place. And it just gives us and future commissioners and future council rails to know how to operate. So we don't go below a certain threshold of reserves. And if we do, we have to put a plan in place to get back to flush, those kind of things. And so I put this before you. If you have any specific questions, happy to answer them.
My only comment is that we probably should have had something like this in place years ago.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Any questions of Josh?
Thank you.
Look for us to have a motion to adopt the resolution approving the reserve policy and debt policy. And I think I'd waive the second reading, but I have to have a second reading?
Not as a resolution, no.
Okay.
Resolution. I move to approve the resolution.
Have a motion on the floor. I'll second. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Anything from the public? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ordinance 23, check. 2023-25, Soldier's Burial Allowance.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey,
Morning.
how are you?
So we are requesting for 2024 and moving forward to raise the burial allowance to $200. We did a survey of all the counties in the state, and the average is at 200. So we've been sitting at 100 since the state created the state code. And we're also wanting to change the name to veterans, to make it encompass all veterans.
Any questions?
Thanks for the work.
Look for a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion we approve the ordinance of the Morgan County Board of Commissioners of Morgan County, increasing the veteran burial allotment up to $200.
And this will be a,
And in your motion, will you waive the second reading? Because this is an ordinance.
I sure will.
Thank you. And you'll second?
I say,
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it. You and Lindsay both.
Appointments, Harrison Township Fire District.
Still working on that one.
What happened, Chris?
We did one, we got another one to do.
Oh, geez.
We got the one replaced, but I'm still looking for another one that
Okay,
is needing off.
goodness.
The EMA Advisory Board had a meeting. Basically, we interviewed a couple candidates for the position of director. The board has brought the recommendation back to the commissioners to accept Abigail Worth as being our new director. So I would ask Abigail to come forward to introduce herself, and then we will vote. Now, the clapping may be premature because these two may not, they may not vote for you, you know, just.
If anything, they're happy that I can walk, and I'll accept that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Abigail Worth. I've been with Morgan County Emergency Management for the last year. Prior to that, I have 10 years of public safety within Morgan County through various roles. So looking forward to the opportunity to continue serving the county in this new role.
Thank you. I would look for this board to make the vote to accept the recommendation of the advisory board to make her our new director.
And I think the reason you're here is because of a tornado. I knew you were up on the hill.
Yeah.
When that tornado hit, you were everywhere and did a fantastic job
Thank
with this
you.
community. And we're very pleased to see that you're going to be with us. So I would thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that in the form of a recommendation or a
It is
motion?
indeed.
A motion?
It is a motion.
Okay. And a second. Any public input? Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Now we can clap.
Thank you very much.
Real quick, so the public knows, during that tornado, and if, Davey, I know you're part of the team, and it's kind of neat, some of the things that are going on in this county, because those of us that were born and raised here kind of deal with some of the outside stigmatism and the labeling that we sometimes get, but it was pretty neat during that tornado. They updated spreadsheets and programs that the state and FEMA both adopted. Now they're using what these leaders in our community did nationwide. And I just think that's pretty cool when little Martinsville, little Morgan County, little Eminence, when Morgan County can take the lead and change everything across the country, I think that's super great. So I want to thank you again for that, and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fuel resolution.
This resolution was provided to us as a template from the Indiana Bond Bank, and there's a neat program we came across which allows us to hedge essentially what might happen in the gas market. And so just, briefly, if we've got set rate, like highway bids out fuel because they can hold it, they have it delivered, they use it throughout the year. But EMS, sheriff, our fleet vehicles, we're subject to the whims of the market and what may or may not happen. And so this program, which is administered by the Indiana Bond Bank, allows us to buy options contracts. So if gas prices don't run, then we lose a little bit of money. It's 15 cents per gallon, which is the cost of the contract and the cost of the administration fee from the Indiana Bond Bank. But if gas prices rise on us, then for every gallon we hedge, we get the delta. So if prices went, for example, from $2 to $3, we'd get $1 on every contract that we purchased. So this resolution, there's one here for you this morning. There's one for the council Monday. If both bodies say, yes, this is something we want to participate in, there is an exhibit to these resolutions, which is not finalized yet, which we're working with outside counsel and the bond bank to make sure we get the language in there that we want. But this would be the first step. It has to be approved, and then the rest of it will be finalized as we get closer to December when we start getting options pricing.
Any questions for Josh? No. We have a resolution in front of us. Look for a motion. For or against?
Hill makes a motion, we approve the resolution of the Morgan County Board of Commissioners in Morgan County authorizing participation of said county in the motor fuel budgeting program and the Indiana Bond Bank for 2024 budget year. The executives of the qualified entities reimbursement agreement in connection therewith and other related matters.
I have a motion on the floor. Can I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Authorization to purchase radio equipment.
Good morning, Dispatch Director Scott Hamilton. I'll introduce myself too. I'm here with a resolution that was prepared by an attorney at Josh's request regarding purchase of radio equipment. We have some radio equipment that is end of life. When the dispatch center was built, only part of a new radio system was installed. So the old part, which is 2/3 of the radio system, is end of life. And to replace that, sought some quotes, and Motorola wants approximately $467,000 to replace it. We can replace the entire system and get in line with some of the other radio equipment we've already replaced, VHF stuff, with Kenwood and Telex, for $377,000. And so we're basically going to start out with a whole brand-new system. And the company that's prepared the quote for the Kenwood stuff is a local company that we've done a lot of business with. I have no concerns about their ability to carry out the task of putting this system in.
Any more questions for Scott? Look for somebody to make a motion on the resolution in front of us.
I'll move that we proceed with the resolution that they've actually approved this in the budgeting, right? I recall.
Yes, funds is, there. I believe we're going to look at a
Right.
multi-year lease,
Right.
lease to purchase program, as opposed to buying it all at one time.
So the resolution of, to fund the purchase of the resolution,
Radio equipment.
got it.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any further questions? Hearing none, a call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
BLN engagement letter.
So this engagement letter is related to our bot. If you remember when we started this first phase, everything got put into a building corporation, and the way the state law is constructed, the facility that you lease, you have to get an appraisal on, and then the building corp and the county essentially switch money until the bonds are paid off. And so we have to do the same thing with the next phase, which is the renovation of the historic courthouse. So BLN yes, they're an engineering firm, but they also offer professional appraisal services for commercial buildings. And so we've used them on the last phase. We're very comfortable with them. And so this is the appraisal to meet the legal requirements for the next portion of the bot.
Look for a vote to accept the engagement letter.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Request to apply for federal funds, Bridge 107.
Good morning, Commissioners. In front of you is a letter requesting the Highway Department to proceed to apply for federal funding to design and construct Bridge 107 on Measle Road. And over the last few years, this bridge was initially in the NDOT system to be replaced. It had to get pulled for unfortunate circumstances within our department over the last few years. However, we do have the funds on our 5-year bridge plan and in the 2024 budget to account for this design and construction. So we're asking for approval to apply for federal aid to replace this bridge.
Any questions for our engineer? Look for a motion.
Get the motion to go ahead and, for the request to apply for the federal funding for Bridge 107 for the Highway Department.
Second.
Any comments, concerns? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you, Justin and
Thank you.
Lisa,
Approved.
appreciate it.
Being an engineer, did you ride the train into work today?
No.
I left it at home today, so.
I won't let a meeting go by that I won't bring that up. Next up, we have a request to issue countywide small structure inspection, RFQs.
Yes, this next item, so traditionally, every 4 to 5 years, we would like to hire a consultant to inspect all the small structures across the county. This is an often overlooked asset of ours that can have a big impact on our budget if we don't monitor it closely. So we would like to send out a RFQ to a list of consultants that are pre-qualified through NDOT to perform these inspections. And this will get us back on track to be able to plan and, get our budget in order for the replacement and rehabilitation of these structures moving forward.
Good call. Can we have a motion to issue a countywide small structure inspection RFQ?
Make a motion, we go ahead and do the request, to issue the request for qualifications for the countywide small structure inspections.
Have a motion on the floor. You want a second?
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dree here. Oh, that's right, you're representing Dree. That's right, she's gone.
Ms. Dree is out today. We have an employee whose spouse is having health concerns. They've used all of their time. They are on intermittent FMLA. We also have an employee who is switching to an elected position and would like to donate all of their time down to, I believe it was the 240 mark, over to this employee so that they can continue to care for their spouse.
Any questions? Motion to move on this request to donate time?
So moved.
Second.
Says a lot when you're willing to donate your time to keep an employee, so that's good.
Says something about the culture.
Any further comments or concerns? Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Road name, Waverly Parkway, Waverly Park Road.
Don't see nobody else.
We'll hold off on that. We have a lot of unfamiliar faces to me, and I apologize for that, but usually when this room is full, there's usually an issue or a topic that people would like to discuss, and I've been told it is road concerns on County Road 1075 North Beach Grove. Is there anybody here that would like to address that?
Two issues, County Road 1075 is the one
I'm
issue.
sorry, I was just, okay. Let's just start with County Road 1075 North. Is there anybody that'd like to approach us? How about Beach Grove Road? I have no clue.
Beach Grove Lane.
Are you Ronald?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Just so you know who I am, my name is Ronald Westfall, Brigadier General, retired United States Army. Been a resident within the Morgan County for over 20-plus years, off and on. And I'm here representing at least 24 citizens within the Beach Grove Lane / Beach Grove Court neighborhood. So what I want to talk about, I've got a prepared statement I'm going to leave each of you a copy of for record, because that's what I want to make sure we get turned in today. But I'm just going to briefly summarize the issues in this statement. We have a serious concern on safety, as well as continued decline of our property values in the neighborhood, and I'm going to explain that. Kind of to preface that, some of our neighbors have filed several complaints to the county regarding ordinance Title IX, Chapter 94, subsection 9420, both in 2022 and 2023. To our knowledge, all or most of those have gone unanswered or unacted upon. We believe that the county's inaction on these complaints has contributed, not the sole cause, but has contributed to the further deterioration of this particular property, 1486 Beach Grove Court in Martinsville. Now that's in the area that I'm talking about. The result of this continued and further deterioration of this property has lowered the property value of that particular property to such a point that it was purchased for cash for $74,500. Now, you may not think that's a safety concern. The safety concern is who purchased it. So we know for a fact that that was purchased by a known drug dealer out of Marion County. His name is Wilberto A. Rivera. He's a known drug dealer. He's been in prison before, He's gotten out of prison. He has multiple felonies for manufacturing, dealing, and possession of both methamphetamines and cocaine. He also has other felonies on his record. He currently has a court case against him right now in Marion County for exactly those charges I just talked about, manufacturing, dealing, and possession of methamphetamines and cocaine. He also was just found guilty by Marion County against Indiana Code 34211, which talks about the seizure of vehicles and property commonly used as consideration for controlled substances. So basically, that's the code that allows them to go in and seize your property if you use it illegally. They took $68,858 away from him. And then he goes and pays $74,500 cash for this property in our neighborhood. And on top of that, he paid over $1,700 in back taxes. Now, one can only assume where he gets this much cash. I can't prove anything, but one can only assume that. What I can tell you is we've contacted the Morgan County Sheriff and the Morgan County Drug Task Force, and Mr. Rivera is known as a high-level drug dealer, and he is on notice with both of those organizations. I will say I don't expect that this commission can do anything to fix this current safety situation. I think that's outside of your purview. That's now in law enforcement agencies, and we have taken that next step. However, our intent is to voice our concerns on record as to how situations can escalate if county ordinances are not enforced. Because in our belief, because these county ordinances weren't enforced to keep this property to a certain standard, it has continued to deteriorate to a point that allowed this to happen. That's our point and that's our concern. So that's all I wanted to voice today. I have a copy of this statement as well as some of the past complaints that we have filed.
Thank you.
Really just wanted to get this on the record because we have a serious concern in our neighborhood. Excuse me for that. So hopefully, this does not lead to a further escalation or, let's just say, violence in the neighborhood or either a distribution point or a manufacturing point showing up in Morgan County, particularly in our neighborhood. That's what we're hoping to avoid. So I'm really counting on the sheriff's office as well as the Morgan County Drug Task Force and the Indiana State Police to kind of help us with that. But I just needed to get that on the record. So that's all I really wanted to do today. So if you have any questions of me, I'd be more than happy to answer. If not, I appreciate your time. Yes, sir.
Clay Township trustee, you're talking about, I understand what you're saying, but you're talking about Beach Grove Drive south of Rock Hill.
Beach Grove Court, which is off of Beach Grove Lane.
So the dead-end road.
Beach Grove Court is a dead-end road, that's correct.
Back in the back, where you're talking about, is that what you're talking about, that property there? Or you're talking about north, on Beach Grove Road north up there where there's been a dump for a couple of years?
So when you drive down Beach Grove Road, as you're going south from Monrovia, you turn left onto Beach Grove Lane, and then immediately turn right onto Beach Grove Court. It's the first house on your left. It's got a big barn, and then there's a house. And it's been full of trash and littered and all kinds of stuff for a long time. Not all the way back in the court. First one right there on the left as you turn it. Absolutely.
I mean, we're concerned about our property values going down when this stuff isn't enforced. But when this kind of stuff happens, and again, I'm not saying it's because they weren't enforced, but I know it was a contributing factor because these are the kind of properties that these guys look for. And I can tell you that the house has been basically, in our opinion, uninhabitable, even though renters have been in there for the last year, but they've had no running water for over a year. They've had no heat for over a year. They've had kids in there. We've complained to Child Protective Services. They said just because you don't have running water, that doesn't mean they can do anything. I disagree with that, especially in that type of environment, but that's not my call. But I think he's right. Things like this are contributing factors, and we just want to see more enforcement. So that's my point.
I know up there on that north block, the sheriff knows about that dump area on North Beach Grove Road. I can't think who the people are. He passed away, there was no will or nothing. They keep people dumping in there out of Indianapolis. They bring their dump in there because the previous owners let them dump for $25 a load in there. That dump's been filled up with, it's got tires and stuff at the bottom of it. They filled up over the years with plasterboard, stuff like that. And plasterboard is, EPA doesn't do much about it because it will dissolve. There's nothing in it to damage the environment up there in that area. So it's been going around and around up there, and these guys have been dumping in there, and now I hear they've been dumping down at the dead end of his road. So the whole area, they're trying to get not a very good environment, so we need more help. I think the EPA was working on the north end of Beach Grove Road, but I haven't heard much about this one here yet. Over the last couple of months, I've been complaining about people driving down and dumping stuff now, and there's a lot of drywall being dumped at the end of that road.
I know that he paid cash for this house because there's no way it'd pass inspection for a mortgage. And that tells you how bad it is.
I will make a comment, Bill, as far as the one site that's south of Beach Grove Lane that's dumping all the drywall. I know IDEM has been out there, Tim Holtz, I've been out there with Tim on that one, the one on Waverly Road as well. And I know that one, they are supposed to be cleaning up. I know IDEM's involved on that. As far as the one north of there, I'm not familiar. I know where you're talking about, I believe, right there across from the Brummets, or really close to the Brummets. You can see it, it's right there, and they've been doing that. The other one, I've not been out by personally, but I've seen all the photos. And I understand there's issues there, so.
Yep.
But I do know the one south, IDEM has been out there, and they've been working on it.
Was an idea working on the north side, north end too up there? I can't think of the guy's name on that because he come up for, it's a mess up there in the first place. They have
Not been doing that one.
Joy was the son of Luther, was the old man, and they didn't have any will or nothing left over. Station's been there now. That's the deal, man. They got trailers tore apart up there, like next to the road, no abandoned vehicles sat there. So maybe we need to get the county to look into that,
I can,
abandoned vehicles and stuff up there.
I can pass it on to Tim Hooks on the one up to the north. I know where that's at. I don't know if the one on Beach Grove Court's gonna fall underneath IDEM's jurisdiction as far as, it's not that bad as far as the dump and everything legally landfill, but it's, I've seen the photos of it. It's, yeah, it's,
That house is in pretty bad shape because I delivered people food 15 years ago in that same old house trailer there. It's just brown. Just brown.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you, appreciate it. Sandy's here.
Hello, I'm Sandy Mosher, and back in 2015, a Waverly Parkway was approved. There was a few years before the notices went out, and when the notices did go out onto these residences, they ended up being Waverly Park Road. And so I just need for the board to actually accept the change from the way to the road.
You just don't want to make them mad and send out the other notices.
No, I
do
am
you?
not sending out hundreds of
Kenny Hill
notices again.
Kenny Hill makes a motion that we approve the Waverly Parkway going to Waverly Park Road so the people don't have to get so upset with the planning commission up there.
I'll second.
Questions of the public? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
And I submitted another road name list. Some was submitted by Brian Collier for some new road names. There's a couple that needs to be changed, the spelling of them. But if you don't want to act on it today, I can bring them back. But if you guys still need time to look over, I just want to add some more to the list because we were getting thin and people was not liking some of them, so.
You're very creative, some of these names. I'm not sure I'm
Yes.
crazy about Bunny Trail.
Well, if you, then you can mark them off.
Well, we have that option?
Yes,
Oh, well,
I can bring them
I've
back.
got a few names I'd like to add, probably.
Well, then just send them to me, then I can bring them all back and submit them all at one time.
I like creative names that are, you know, I like the little maps and towns. I think very many people in here would know that the great town of Wilbur, which is one of our commissioner's residence area, used to be called Lickskillet. And I think that's the coolest name.
Until they burnt their tongue.
Until you assign it to someone, private road name.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see a Lickskillet Road out there. I think it's just colorful, you know?
We have a similar road name to Mockingbird already, though, I thought.
You know what?
Similar road name.
I did go through and look at them. If there is, I will look at that again and I'll
There's a
submit.
subdivision that's got that,
Okay.
something in there.
I will bring them back so Dawn can have time to look them over again. Okay?
Be willing to work with you on a procedure so that we don't run into appealing every
Okay.
time. And
Yeah.
I would like to have a formal procedure where they can come in and if they're looking for a name and you could show them a list and they could pick from the list. And then if they want to individually name it, then they will have to go and get certified copies that they've talked to everybody on that road and bring it back before, that way, that's not on you.
But it
Because
kind
it's
of
too easy for me to sit there and say, Kenny agreed with me to change the name, and I don't like Kenny, so I didn't talk to Kenny, so he has no clue that his road name's about to change, so.
But we-
And that's not we don't have enough staff for you to go chase all that.
My only
But-
concern with that, and Sandy knows this, I mean, out there on Cody Lane, you had all family back there. I asked the people to go ahead, and that's what we used to do, was work with the public to try to put a road name on it. Because, I mean, I would build the MSAG, do the street address guide. I mean, that's, other than theirs, that's all I would write it. So I'd leave it up to them. But back in there, you had all of them that was relatives and everything. They was forging each other's signature, and that name got so screwed up. It was changed 3 times, and that's when the procedure was approved that they no longer had a right to go ahead and do that. So the 911 coordinator has just assigned the road name since. And that's been, we did Coyote Lane, what, 2016, 17?
Yes,
I mean,
and
it's been quite a while that the public's not been able to do that.
then it changes from a 2-hour process of, we had this list of approved road names, to, it could take months before they all agree. And then we have actual people trying to build houses and getting loans and stuff like that, then it delays them to be able to close and stuff if they have to have an address. So the process of just picking off of this road list is so much simpler than allowing them to be part of the process. And I know that's hard for some people to swallow and stuff, but when you're 2 months compared to 2 hours, it's kind of no-brainer at that point.
911's all about eliminating confusion. When you're letting road names be changed, that's why I made this motion earlier. The people on Waverly Park Road has already been used at, it's already been changed once. You don't need to put them back through it and get everybody upset, putting them back the way what it was originally supposed to go, but it didn't. So you need to eliminate that confusion. So I would recommend against that, Brian. Because the commissioners did do that in the form of a motion several years ago.
So
I should have known you were gonna bring me trouble when you're wearing a B-Town sweatshirt.
Kenny Hale makes a motion, we table the proposed road name list for today.
Bring them back, please. Second?
Second.
Call for a vote. All in favor of tabling road names, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. Transfer letter?
This is just a transfer from one project we were going to do to a different project we're moving forward with. The council appropriated money for the county to implement SharePoint over the next year. We didn't have to appropriate all the cost of the project because we had some we could transfer and encumber for next year, and so that's what this request is for.
Look for a motion to accept requesting this transfer.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anything else to come before this board? Right over there, you can have mine. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name's Dana Lynn, and I live
I'm
at
sorry, I didn't,
Dana Lynn,
okay, thank you.
and I live at 7423 Old State Road 67 North, Martinsville, Indiana, in Clay Township in the northern part of Morgan County. And my neighbor to the south of me is Arcosa. It's a mining company, and this kind of goes back a little bit. I got some handouts for you to share with you, and I've got more information if you need to, after you look over it, if you want to follow up. But at one point in time, the county looked at planning and zoning, and when they did that, it allowed the communities, like the towns in the county, to pick up planning and zoning. And when they did that, the town of Brooklyn picked up this area that I live in, and they commenced to violate their zoning ordinance. I have a certified copy of their zoning ordinance, and to actually rezone the property that always buffered us. My family's lived there since the mid-'70s, and we've always had this 35 acres of buffer zone area, I called it, that was zoned agriculture. It also is higher elevation, and I've got some plot maps too I'm going to share with you guys. And I guess maybe I ought to share this with you just so, real quick. I'm going to pass these out. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous.
Oh, take a breath.
Oh.
Oh. Sometimes I get nervous talking to Don. It's the school teacher. The
school teacher.
Yeah, I'm gonna get lectured.
And then I only made one choice.
This is an old.
One copy of this, but I want to share it with you guys because, and I'll go back to the microphone. So what I'm sharing with you, and I just kind of want to give you a perspective before I get into the little bit of the details, but on the colored copied map this was back in '97 when this map was this picture was taken, and I live along Old State Road 67, so there's a bunch of 5-acre tracts of homes that are there, like right here, and then the mining company's back here. And then there's a little There's a 11-acre tract here and a 20-acre tract here. That was the buffer zone area, where you can see where the mining company kind of stopped to that, and there's a junkyard to the northeast part of it. But anyway, I also gave you a topo map that shows that 11-acre tract that was just to the north of the mining company, actually the elevations were 40 feet higher than our homes. And they came to the town of Brooklyn to rezone these two tracts from agriculture to heavy manufacturing. And they did so in violation of their zoning ordinance. The town of Brooklyn actually violated their zoning ordinance because when they did it, they said that in your zoning ordinance, and that's on page 4 of the big handout I gave you, and I actually, like I said, I have a certified copy of their whole zoning ordinance, but it said at the time that for heavy manufacturing, and I don't know why I'm doing that, I'm sorry, but for heavy manufacturing, it was to be separated from a residential area and with lighter zoning districts in between it, but yet they did it anyway. And I mean, I've got like I said, I'm paraphrasing it, but I did quote it in there. So anyway, now they're mining it, and they have actually violated the town of Brooklyn. They granted that. They actually granted the rezoning. They also then granted a variance to allow them to mine it, but with that variance that they granted it, they said they should stay within 1,000 feet of our homes, which, I mean, mind you, it uses like 400 feet of my property too, but that doesn't matter because the town of Brooklyn said that they can mine that property, but they stay within 1,000 feet of our homes. Well, they have since violated that 1,000-foot setback, and Ms. Parker's been out there, and I think that she actually had them stop mining that area. Well, now they're on the northwest side of their property, and they're violating the 1,000-foot setback on that side of the property. And Arcoso, I can actually, if you want, I can pull all of the violations. I mean, they built a new kiln 3 years ago without even permitting it with IDEM. They're just not good neighbors. And they also have a Title V pay-to-pollute permit. That's actually our old IPL plant was a Title V pay-to-pollute permit. These guys have the same type of permit. And I actually talked to the IDEM Division of Air's director, and they are violating their air permit right now, but they have to catch them. And so it's Von Eisen is their air inspector, and he doesn't work but 7 to 5, and they're actually running at night now. They're running their kilns at night, and they're a self-reporter too under these pay-to-pollute permits. And anyway, I'm just please make them comply with their setback requirements, because it's an awful operation that we're living up against, and we really need your help. I'm sorry.
Take a breath. And I'll be honest with you, I will have to educate myself to all this, because I didn't think they could do this at night to begin with, because I thought they had to have a special waiver. They don't need a special waiver? We just had to do that for that other project, to run at night?
Well,
Gravel for 69, they
this
needed a...
new company has done it ever since they bought it out. And I know Dana Lynn, I've talked to her several times over the years when I was upstairs, and I would always just have to talk to them, remind them about the setback. I mean, it's, and they've got a high wall. I mean, their high wall's pretty high.
It's a 300-foot drop, the high wall is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because they dig way below just the elevations that you see on the topo maps. But it's just it's just a dirty operation. I've eaten grit in my backyard where when the winds are coming out of the north and they're mining, they don't water their property or roads down like they're supposed to, so we get the dust. I know the town of Bethany and everyone along that area would support your guys' help. I know that they were on the news the other day about it, just because, I mean, they have to change out their air filters every month in their house. It's really bad. And like I said, like their kilns, they're running them at night. If you drive by there at night, you'll see that they're running and they're violating their air permit. And it's a pay to pollute, I mean, it's a self-reporting air permit too. It's just kind of crazy. But I actually took some video when they were running of the evening. And that's what I took up to the supervisor up there at IDEM. And he said, yes, that's a violation, but we got to catch them.
Okay. Is this
So-
copy for us to keep with all the tabs?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
And if you'll make sure that Deb, who's my boss, has your contact information, I'll have to research this a little bit more.
Would you
And I'll
like,
probably rely on Mr. Hale, who was in planning and zoning, and he's who I run to a lot on stuff like this, him and the upstairs. So we'll get back with you.
okay, and if you don't mind, I'll leave you, even if it's okay, a copy of that. I've got a complete copy of the town of Brooklyn's ordinance, just so you can validate that everything I say and quoted in there was accurate.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time, and I'm sorry I
You're-
didn't call ahead.
No, you were fine. You were fine.
It's just- I
Thank
mean-
you for coming and letting us know that there is an issue.
Well, and Mr. Collier, just want to let you know too that they're taking down the last ridge right now. I mean, that has buffered our home from them right now. And so, and Ms. Parker could attest to this, where they've already violated on the northeast side, that 1,000-foot setback. It's kind of hard to I mean, they do have a remediation plan. They're actually required to have that mineral extraction permit. They're supposed to have a remediation plan with the state. And so, but they haven't even remediated what they violated from that exception thing that the town of Brooklyn implemented. So, anyway,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Anything else to come before the board? Hearing none? Anything else that any of the members would like to add? Call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Say aye. Aye. Thank you. Everybody have a safe day.
Okay, Don, you want to start the signatures, so we'll catch up with
Hey,
Brian?
we got a pile of them today, don't we?
This is my copy of this. Make copies of the other stuff.
Kenny, what's going on up there, bro? What's the deal up there?
It's along that road.